They both speak to the same thing, and that is lack of trust of a financial system, selling of U.S. treasuries, a dollar that's losing purchasing power, fiscal irresponsibility, and a declining amount of silver that's available. I mean, it is empirical evidence. 6 years in a row of declining inventory, above ground supply, a mining ratio that makes about 800 million a year in mining and 1.2 to 3 billion in demand. And those numbers that the Silver Institute uses, for some reason, you don't see military uses in there anymore. You used to. Now they took that out. So what are the real numbers? I don't know, but this is why they've held it down, in my opinion, because it's more important than the price would elaborate.
So you say, you mentioned some European banks, some Canadian banks are short silver. What's the rationale behind that? Why would they be short?
Because those are the 8 Western banks that have been in control of the market forever. Not just the banks in the United States. You got like Deutsche Bank and UBS and Standard Charter, along with TD Bank, along with the banks in the United States. So they've all been doing it in concert, and one way or the other, there has to be a breaking of the ranks, or they're all going to go down in a what is a very systemic chain reaction if one of these banks has a failure to deliver in London.
It's interesting because, I look at silver as largely an industrial metal. I mean, I think 2/3 of its use cases now go to industrial. Why wouldn't copper has been trading at it pretty healthily. It seems to be trading as it should be. Similar reasons, huge industrial demand, electrification, and so forth. Why do you think silver's so heavily manipulated and copper isn't, for example? Or are they
silver
both?
has it is, and you can see that by China saying we're going to limit sulfuric acid exports, which is a main byproduct of silver or copper mining, and silver is largely found as a byproduct of copper mining. Only 15 or 20% of all the silver that came to market was mined by silver companies, most of it by copper, lead, and zinc companies as a byproduct. But silver, its main use, I think, from the rationale standpoint, would be the military-industrial complex needing it for high-tech weaponry. And it's not even the cost of it as much as it is the decaying supply, as anything that's been used in industry over the last 70 years is in landfills. So it's disappearing, it's depleting. And so it's one of these deals where they got caught with their pants down, so to speak, these banks. And the countries who are standing for delivery are doing something nobody ever did. And that's what's enabling, I think, this is why you're seeing such great lengths to mitigate the price rise, because there's some very big players that are off sides. But as far as I'm concerned, you haven't even begun to see anything yet. It's an asset that is indispensable in a country that needs, for high-tech weaponry, for electronics, for solar panels, for AI. You need silver. And without it, this stuff doesn't happen. There is no substitute. Copper is a poor substitute for silver in these applications.
Yeah, absolutely. So you say we haven't seen nothing yet. What are you expecting, kind of more medium term? I don't like to ask for short term price predictions, but what are you expecting in the silver market over the next, say, year?
Well, I don't. I hate price predictions too. I will tell you that the lead analyst, for example, for Bank of America, came out and said, sell half of your bonds and put 25% of your assets into precious metals, gold and silver. You had the lead analyst or the chief investment officer for Morgan Stanley said, yeah, the 60-40, 60% stock, 40 bond mantra that Wall Street's used is dead. Sell half your bonds as well. Put 20% in gold and silver. Jeffrey Gundlach, the bond king, said, yeah, 25% of your assets in gold and silver is not overweight. BlackRock just said the same thing, that the 60-40 thing is dead. We're going heavy into commodities, largely gold and silver. You got guys like the lead precious metals analyst for Bank of America saying that by the end of this year, he could see between 130 and 309.
Phew.
I mean, you got Michael Oliver, who is
Yeah.
not a gold bug, who is saying 500 by this summer. It starts in the next 2 weeks. I don't know. A lot higher than people think possible is what I would think. And this is the exact atmosphere you would want to see right before it takes off. And that would be horrible sentiment, huge deliveries at the highest level, a price that has maintained good stability, good demand,
Yeah.
even as all of this negative sentiment is very pervasive right now.
What do you like more right now, gold or silver?
In the end, gold, right now, silver. I still think its value is better than gold. But in the end, if I had one choice, it would be gold
Why is that?
because it's being rewoven into the monetary system right in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Do you think is it possible for silver to be in a bull market and gold to sort of be whatever, choppy trading or trading sideways? Is that possible?
For short periods of time, I think the correlation between the two is still intact. I mean, there's a 90% correlation through all of time, but it's not always symmetrical. The reasons may be slightly different, but in general, they both speak to the same thing, and that is lack of trust of a financial system, selling of U.S. treasuries, a dollar that's losing purchasing power, fiscal irresponsibility, and a declining amount of silver that's available. I mean, it is empirical evidence. 6 years in a row of declining inventory, above ground supply, a mining ratio that makes about 800 million a year in mining and 1.2 to 3 billion in demand. And those numbers that the Silver Institute uses, for some reason, you don't see military uses in there anymore. You used to. Now they took that out. So what are the real numbers? I don't know, but this is why they've held it down, in my opinion, because it's more important than the price would elaborate.
So just want to go back to the Western world. What's a typical profile of a buyer in the West? Who or what is that buyer? We know who the East is. We understand. But what about the West? Who's buying in the West?
Well, if we're not talking individuals, right?
Yeah, we're talking like the major buyer of silver in the Western world.
I
Who is
mean,
that?
that's the thing. No one's asking who the hell's been standing for delivery in billions of dollars worth every month. I mean, could it be the Exchange Stabilization Fund, now that it's a critical mineral, not needing congressional approval? Could it be Elon Musk or Samsung or Sony or any of these corporations that need silver? But that's the question that's not being asked. Who's doing it? And that is the question that, you're more of a journalist than the mainstream media is. No one's asked who the hell's doing it every single month. Who stood for delivery for 39 million ounces in a non-delivery month in February and drove it away?
Well, exactly.
I mean, and 39 million ounces leaving COMEX is almost 2.9 million pounds. Who ran logistics for that? Insurance, the armada of semis. Where did it go?
Crazy.
These are the things that I think betray price. The flow betrays the price. The flow tells you everything. And I think the people at that level understand that. And they are misdirecting with price and sentiment and rhetoric. So you nailed it on the head. I don't know who it is. It would be great if someone could tell us, but this is every single month, man.
Yeah.
Every single month. Like, who stood for delivery now for almost 11.5 billion worth of gold in the June contract already?
It's crazy. At some point there's got to be a push. Like, we're seeing pushes for these mineral projects to become mines. We're seeing grants, even from the Department of War now, Canadian government, European governments want to push for critical mineral mines. I don't see a big push for silver mines, even though I know it is a critical mineral. I don't see a push for that. Do you think we're going to start seeing that, where they start fast tracking some of these projects so they can get permitted quicker and go into production? Because that's another way.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I do believe that 100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just kind of waiting for that moment, because that's another way I do like to play the
that's
silver market.
also, Project Vault is the project where they're going to stockpile natural resources and critical minerals, and then they want to impose a price floor underneath the price of silver and these commodities to incentivize and fast track domestic mining. That's exactly right.
Andy, it's always a pleasure. I know you're a busy man, so I do appreciate your time.
I'd love to come on more often. You ask questions that no one asks. These are as tough questions as I've ever asked, and I'd like it. I mean, those are the questions that people want to know. So thanks for giving me a shot at them.
I appreciate it, man. I like to challenge my own thesis, right? Otherwise, you get stuck in an echo chamber. And but I'm
if we don't
silver.
ever learn and do that, we learn more and more about less and less till we know everything about nothing. And that's the difference. Is that, smart and intelligent. Intelligent can be smart. Intelligent cannot be smart. Smart to me is the ability to listen to other viewpoints, challenge it, learn, grow, and maybe even change your opinion. There are a lot of intelligent people that aren't smart, and they just follow a narrative into a dark hole. I like your questions. I like your thinking. And I too can change my opinion. But everything I see right now tells me that the most well-funded, well-informed traders in the world are using price and the very quiet market of sentiment, to your point, to run cover for repositioning at a level no one's ever seen before. And yet no one's asking, who the hell's doing it?